What a perfect day to make a video. First, time to find a spot. What's going on, guys? I basically wanted to make a video today to explain the story of how I went from being a server, which is what I was doing for the last 4 years, to basically lighting the sets of movies in Vancouver. And this all happened in the span of, I'd say, a little over a month, and I had zero film experience whatsoever. So if you've got the time, got a few minutes to spare, and you're wondering how the heck a server made his way into the film industry and became into lighting, this is the story for you. So essentially, I really loved serving. I started in fast food at McDonald's. KFC was my first job, but after a year or two, I believe it was, I got into serving, and it allowed me to have a bunch of amazing opportunities. It allowed me to travel all across Canada, allowed me to get to Jasper. I went to Tofino. I actually house kept in Tofino, but great experience nonetheless. All these things, being in the mountains, being by the ocean. I got to see out east, New Brunswick and PEI because of the serving job I had in Ottawa. But all these things led up ultimately to when I went out to New Brunswick and PEI. Some things happened essentially with my job a week before. In my own opinion, that's a whole other story of its own. But I ended up losing that job, and shortly after, I actually lost my place. So I didn't have anywhere to live. I didn't have any means of income. Luckily, I had some family in the area, and bless their hearts, they took me in. I was there for a couple months. And after that, I kind of had some deep thinking into whether I wanted to stay in Ottawa for the winter or if I wanted to try and come out here to Vancouver. I'd recently discovered I really enjoyed poetry, so I wanted to do more spoken word poetry, get out to open mics, and I knew Ottawa is a place I could potentially make a name for myself through the winter, but Vancouver was a place where there was so much to absorb and so much space to learn and grow, from other people. So I really was torn. I didn't know what to do, and I kind of weighed the options on both sides, looked into both sides of the spectrum as well, and that's when an old friend from my McDonald's days out in Cold Lake, Alberta, said he had a room available in the place he was living, and he potentially could get me a foot in the door in the film industry. This is a buddy through my travels, through being in Tofino, through living in Jasper, someone I always kept in touch with, someone I went and saw every time I was in Vancouver, which was never more than a couple of days. And here I was, now about to move in with him. I decided that's what I was going to do. I found a cheap flight, $200, in this situation, which felt like was repeating over and over. Me heading to a new place with pretty much no money and no idea of what was going to happen. So this is something that I'd experienced before, and at this point I was super comfortable with. I was definitely nervous. I can't say that I'm not in those situations, but as they've come to happen more and more for me, I've learned how to kind of roll with the flow of knowing stuff's just not going to happen in your favor all the time. There's definitely going to be a lot of messiness sometimes and spontaneity, and it's about finding your way through that mess and seeing the beauty on the other side. When I got here, within about 4 hours of being in my new home in Vancouver, across the country from Ontario where I just was, I actually got a day in film as production assistant, which is basically working with the locations department, helping roll out carpets, putting up cardboard so things don't get dented, calling out rolls so that the crew can hear it. Pretty mundane stuff, and it was something I wasn't used to. 16-hour days, most likely, and for the most part, where I was used to working 3 to 4 hours, sometimes 6-hour serving shifts. Big difference, big change, and it was crazy. I couldn't believe I had this day. I was out in Squamish, British Columbia, and I basically just stood there all day. And it was, like I said, it was different, but I was excited, and I just kind of rolled with that. And I ended up getting another day, the rest of the week as well. And after that, my buddy who got me on the show, he ended up taking another show, and I ended up driving the locations van, which had all that gear that I just talked about in it. And that was kind of a little bump up, maybe like $10 extra a day. But from there, I got to finish out the show the next 2 weeks. I had 3 weeks of work and film, my first 3 weeks here, and at the end of that show, one of the people from the lighting department came up to me and chatted with me, and they said they liked my attitude and a couple other things, and essentially just said if I wanted a day call and ever come in with them, they thought that was something I wanted to do, they'd be more than willing to call me, and I took it. And I ended up getting that day. The crew was splitting, luckily at that time, to do 2 different shows. So I was able to be on that crew that was formed for the second show throughout the whole show for 4 weeks, I believe it was. It was a crazy first experience. I knew nothing about lighting. I got a few weeks off for the Christmas holidays, and the start of the new year, I was back at it again. We just did another movie in the last 3 weeks, and I've got another few weeks off here, looking to get creative. But all in all, I think the moral of this for me is not only in lighting, but in life as well, we don't realize how much is going on behind the scenes. I'm really starting to see how all my travels and conversations with people as a server, learning about life, learning about myself, learning how to be more positive towards myself, towards others, believing in myself, confidence in myself, all these things, and knowing people, connections, networking is the biggest thing for me. I found is the biggest upside. Connecting with others is so important, and I honestly don't believe I would have gotten this opportunity without human connection and networking. Not even always face-to-face, but networking with other people. That's how I landed this first opportunity, and even though it was a stranger who offered me my next in lighting, I thoroughly believe that it's the way that I presented myself, and it's a lot of what's going up in here, and then how that turns into what we're doing out here. Just sum it all up. I basically just want to say that as a kid, my very first dream I can remember is that I wanted to be an actor and I wanted to make movies. Now today, here I am, 24 years old, gonna be 25 this year, and here I am. I'm not acting in movies, but I'm shining light on the people who act in movies. Close. Maybe someday, who knows, but cool enough, I think, even to be right there beside actors in movies, having conversations with them, not only actors, but everyone else. There's so many departments that really go under-recognized, I believe, when we don't know a lot about what goes into a film. So all in all, there's a lot going on in magical moments, magical movie moments, and our magical moments in life. It might seem like it's just an amazing moment or few moments to experience, but what we forget is there's a lot going on behind the curtain. There's a lot going on behind the camera that we don't realize. So when we start taking recognition to these behind the scenes moments that lead up to these magical moments, we can start to lead our thoughts and our intentions and our actions with our dreams, you never know what can happen. Clearly, it doesn't happen overnight. This is the first thing I've really experienced where patience over the long haul has really showed me what special things can come of that. I'm super pumped to see what I can tackle next. I've definitely had a few more dreams since that childhood dream of being an actor. So I'm looking to accomplish some of those this year and the next few years getting going. But my question I leave you with is, what are you working on behind the scenes?